Hey guys, how's everybody on this fine Monday morning? Hey, I got some exciting stuff to show you today. We've been working in the train room and we got some exciting stuff to show you. So, and we're going to do a little bit of a comparison on plaster cloth. Because I've kind of found out, well, not really the hard way, but I found out there's some better stuff out there and a lot cheaper. So I'm going to show you that too. But let's get started. I'm excited to show you. So let me put you on wiggly wobbly mode here. So take your Dramamine, fasten your seat belts, and we're going to walk across the hall over here to the train room, and I'll show you what we got. Hang on, I'll be right back. While we're on the way over to the train room, this is my next project before I do anything else. Now that I've got the big mountains taken care of, which you're going to see here in just a few minutes, but I have got mountains and mountains of styrofoam here in the model room. So I got to find some. I don't want to get rid of it, because you never know when you're going to want to add a little something here or there on the train layout. So I'm going to save it. I just got to find some place to put it. And the first thing you're going to see is we got the drop down or swing down, whatever, however you want to call it, but we got that section all installed. So I know somebody had left a comment on my last video. I don't remember who it was, but they were concerned with it sticking out in the doorway and then walking by and hitting your legs on it or something. But as you can see, it's pretty tight up against the wall, so there's no problem there. And as far as any kind of scenery that I put on it, I just won't be putting anything tall on it that will be sticking way out. I'll keep the scenery on this to the low side. So let me bring you in this way where you can see it from this angle. In fact, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set you up on the tripod real quick, and then I'll show you how easy it swings up. Hold on. So it just, like it said, it just swings right up. Just pull it up. And it's that easy. It is that easy. So I've got the pink styrofoam all cut. It's ready to go on there. I just got to get it glued down. But that's a big thing. I've been waiting to get that done, and my son finally had time to come over here to help me with it yesterday. So that's a big thing out of the way, off the checklist, so to speak. Then to drop it down. It's that easy. It's that easy. So I'm excited about that. Like I said, that's a big thing off of the checklist. Now, the other thing that I wanted to show you on, and we're gonna start walking around here a little bit, but we got all the plaster cloth on all the way around the track. So starting right here with the incline coming up, I know I showed you the mountains, the styrofoam, the happy accident in the last update. Well, we used the strips of cardboard to make the basket weave them. We used that to form it, and then did the plaster cloth over the top of that. And then the center one here, you saw how this was just stacks of the 2-inch thick styrofoam that I had. And I just did a little bit of shaping on the styrofoam and then covered that in the plaster cloth. So while we're speaking of plaster cloth, let me show you something here. Now this is the Woodland Scenics that I'm sure everybody is familiar with. You can pick this up at Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby. It's really readily available, and it's Michael's price, at least here where I live, is $10.99, and it's 8 inches wide by 7.5 feet long. Well, on my layout here, I went from there, coming down here on the incline, up to here, just on the incline, and then I started putting it on the face of the styrofoam here to start shaping some of the mountains, and I was able to go from here, I got this done, up to here. That was one roll. So that was $10.99, well, minus the coupon, but 10 bucks to do that much. And I got to thinking, man, there's got to be, something else out there that you can buy in bulk, because to do all of this with the Woodland Scenics, it would have cost me upwards of close to $100 maybe. So I got to looking at Amazon, and I found this. I don't know if any of you have seen this before or not, but it's made by Activa. I believe that's how you pronounce it, and there's their website there. But this comes, well, they sell it by, on Amazon it's listed as a 5-pound roll, but you can see here the measurements of it is 11 3/4 by 16.6 yards, which is like 15 feet, something like that. And so with one roll, I went from here, and you can see the color difference, which we'll talk about that in a second. But I went from here all the way down, all the risers, and both sides of the center mountain here, and then the riser going along the back into that corner there. And I still have this much of the roll left. Now, the other thing that I wanted to compare, and I wanted to show you guys, is with the Woodland Scenics. I'm sure you guys all know, you dip it in water, you put it on your surface, and then you take your wet fingers and, spread the plaster that's on it. Well, what I was having a lot of problems with is there just wasn't a whole lot of plaster on a lot of the spots, as you can see by all the holes here, that are still real visible. And the same over here. And it wasn't just the one roll. because I had used the Woodland Scenics on my other layout and had the same thing. I mean, there's just, you know, not granted, you know, all the holes don't have to be filled, but just in comparison to the Activa cloth, if you start looking at this, it's pretty much solid. I mean, basically what I'm saying is there's a lot more plaster on the cloth than what there is on the Woodland Scenic cloth. So, and this being the 11.5 inches wide, which is wider than, I mean, I can show you here. So you figure, I don't want to open this because I plan on taking it back, but you can see how much wider it is than the Woodland Scenics. And the fact that it's 7.5 feet versus 15 feet, so it's double the length. This was only $18.99 on Amazon compared to $10.99 at Michael's or Hobby Lobby or whatever. So this is a much better deal, and it's actually a much better plaster cloth, at least in my inexperienced new guy to the train world way of looking at it. So anyways, I'm not real sure where this stain came from. It just, after it dried, it just all of a sudden showed up. So I'm not real sure where that is, unless that was drips from when I was doing up here maybe. I don't know. But so anyways, I'll just kind of walk you around here real quick and let you see everything. I mean, I'm sure you've all seen plaster cloth put down before. Oh, and another little happy accident that happened when I was, like I said, I was kind of shaping these a little bit so that they didn't have the real sharp edges on them and everything from the stacked up styrofoam blocks. Well, when I was stacking them up, it just kind of naturally made this little cave, which instead of just covering it up, I went ahead and I left it. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have like maybe some mountain climbers climbing up the side here, and then just inside the tunnel here, or the cave, I think I'll have a bear waiting for him. So I thought that might be kind of cool. So the next thing I'm going to be doing after I take care of the styrofoam in the model room there, but the next thing that I'll be doing is I'm going to put some color on this, on like the base coat of paint on the mountains, and then on where the track is going to be here for the track bed, just put a base coat down on that. And then I'm going to start, I'll use, now here again, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but what I plan on doing is after I put the base coat on the mountains, I was going to use hot glue to start putting some rock molds here, there, along the mountains, and then using plaster of Paris to blend them in, like around the edges of the rock mold. So I can blend it in so that you don't see the edges, so it doesn't look like it's glued on there. And then I'll get more into painting those and that type of thing. And then once those are done, then I'll get into the ground cover, like the dirt and a little bit of grass, snow on this side, you know, that type of thing. So all of the, where you can see the basket weave, which is really, and that's something else with the Woodland Scenics, it's really pronounced over the Woodland Scenics plaster cloth. And it's, you can still see it, but it's not quite as pronounced with the Activa cloth. I think the cloth is probably a little thicker. So it helps hide that a little bit more. But by the time I'm done painting it, putting the rock molds on it, the plaster Paris on it, and then doing the ground cover and the snow and everything else, I really don't think that you're going to notice it at all. And then I'll start working on the waterfall, and we'll get that in there. So anyways, if you have any tips for me as far as attaching the rock molds or using, you know, anything along those lines, please leave them in the comments down below. I really appreciate it. Alrighty guys, well, this is turning out to be a little bit longer than what I had anticipated, so I'm going to let you all go. I hope you have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you on the next update. So you all have a good week, and we'll talk at you all later. Bye.